I'm not an expert. Prices can go up.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Greenwood Park Board for Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the March 7th meeting.
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say members should have received a copy of the minutes in their packets. Any additions or corrections? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve, which has already been done by Mr. Prost.
Second.
Second by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Yay.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
I'm I also, motion carries. Second item on the agenda is the attorney's report.
All right. So the first contract we have is from Certified Lawn Care. It's an addendum to the existing contract amendment. Some additional services that weren't included in the original quote, thus proceeding the aeration over at is it amphitheater? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the amphitheater. I think it's just had aeration on there.
Okay.
Aeration seating, which was not included in the first one. It's so high traffic down there.
This is just the area in front of the amphitheater.
Yeah, it's most of it.
Most of it.
And this is about where the trees get big.
So it's just, did we approve this last meeting?
The full, the exhibit A is the full contract. That was
Right.
approved maybe 2 meetings ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just, this is just the
Addition.
addition of the aerated seating
Yes.
Correct.
for 700 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
February 7th is the reserve.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the addendum to the contract for certified lawn care.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Prost. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next is a approval of the use agreement for the envelope. I assume I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. Group for their family fun day.
Yep, they want to utilize the field house, June 3rd, it's a Saturday from 5:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is outside of our normal kind of rental time blocks. It's also it's exclusive rental facility. I believe it's probably pretty slow at that time frame. We don't have any concerns. Maybe a great exposure to the field house as well.
What is the envelope group?
We are not entirely sure. I think it's other your discussions. Do you happen to know anything about business?
So do we know if it's a local business? Okay,
I think it's actually enveloped.
I think it's envelope. Would make more sense.
They're located in Indianapolis.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? We okay renting this out, Ricky, on that day? Isn't it a Saturday, I believe? I think it's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. June 3rd is a Saturday.
Hearing no questions or comments, I need a motion to approve the use agreement with the
Envelope.
Envelope Group. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, second by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next is the use agreement for Woodman Park by the Greenwood High School Marching Band. Actually, it's their marching band invitational on September 16th. I believe they mostly want to use it for parking and have access through the fence there to the main high school.
This is a long-standing use of Woodman Park. We've done it for, I think every board member sitting up there is actually discussing this. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Basically overflow parking, isn't it? Isn't that what they kind of?
Yeah, it's primary.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they use this primary parking. They use
You
the
still have
property boundary gate there off to the
Still have
west.
that
to
gate by the
access.
ball. Okay,
Yeah.
the ball field.
obviously work with Jim with caution tape, staking.
I know they're always conscientious about whether or not the ground's too wet or
Yeah.
like you said, they work with Jim closely. Okay. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the use agreement with Greenwood High School Marching Band for their invitational in September of this year.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Byrd, second by Mr. Prost. All those in favor? Prost.
Aye.
Mr. Byrd.
Aye.
Mr. Deacon.
Aye.
Aye, and I also motion carries.
Next use agreement by David Mandelbaum for his Making Memories Classic Pickleball Tournament to benefit the Alzheimer's Association of Greater Indiana. It's a charity event. They'll be required to let us know how much they raised and how it was distributed.
This is a date change, I believe, correct?
So, yes, it is. You all approved it for the very last weekend in July. I
Okay.
appreciate that. The two young ladies, Jade and Jackie Kawamoto, who are the professional pickleball players from right here in Greenwood, have helped us with this tournament, helped promote it. Really made it into quite a tournament last year, and are not available on that weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't know that when I requested the last weekend. So it's moving it to the 14th through the 16th of July, 2 weeks earlier. But the additional request that I sent to Heather is to be able to use the tennis courts in addition to the pickleball courts. And I understand that's a big request. I know that there's been precedent where that's been done before. And our tournament last year had 231 players, making it one of the largest tournaments in central Indiana the entire summer. I have a new tournament director that I'm working with this year who organizes tournaments in Columbus and Bloomington. Her name is Ashley Craig, and she's pretty well known for organizing tournaments. And the fact that unfortunately Craig Park has 7 beautiful courts, but pickleball courts, but it's just 7, and it really makes it a challenge, especially if we have any rain at all, where we have to condense the tournament and so on. So she asked me to look into the idea of utilizing the tennis courts to have some additional court space for the tournament, to make it as big as we possibly can. Last year, we raised just under $36,000, that every penny goes to the Alzheimer's Association. We'd like to raise even more than that this year, to be honest.
So we've got what, 5 tennis courts, Craig?
We have 5. I think my question to Mr. Mandelbaum is what would be the method of striping the tennis courts, converting them to pickleball?
Ashley has done this at tennis courts in parks in both Columbus and Bloomington. I know there have been issues about striping the courts. Obviously, it's not gonna be paint, it'll be tape.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's my understanding is there've been issues with that before. If it rains and there's tape, you guys even talked to me about it.
Yeah.
But I'm trusting someone who does this all the time. And she said to me, we would come the day before, just line them for the pickleball courts. And as soon as the tournament's over, they're taken up and gone.
Rental fees would apply. We would have our additional rental fees for the tennis courts, which we already got that structure for. We would be happy to speak to Mr. Mandelbaum about that. I would always say, the only thing I say from a parks maintenance standpoint and asset standpoint, as long as the lines are temporary, it's not on a temporary basis, and it doesn't deface or affect the surface of the tennis court any at all, we don't have an issue with that. I mean, at the end of the day, when they do a pickleball tournament up there, it makes the tennis courts non-usable anyway for anyone who tennis, because they bring such a large audience.
Well, I mean, that wasn't by intent last
No.
year, but what we noticed was, to be honest, that whole weekend that we did it last year, most of the people on the tennis courts were pickleball players warming up for their upcoming match.
So they're basically monopolizing it, for lack of a better term, anyway. So they might as well be able to capture some more hard courts and play that as well. Yeah.
So the Parks Department will supervise the taping and the modification of the tennis?
It's not our event, not our striping, we don't do anything of that. All only thing I would ask for Drew is to ensure that that we're protected from an asset standpoint, that our courts will be damaged with the process of
Yeah.
striking this.
And the lease agreement does take into account that they are responsible if they do damage.
Yeah. Yeah, so essentially, we're letting them use the facilities, and then we're in turn, they're agreeing to let them use the tennis courts for in this case, converted pickleball courts.
Yeah, my only concern is when they take up the tape that they put down temporarily, that it doesn't hurt it doesn't damage or deface the existing tennis court lines that are on there.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it'll do anything to the,
Yeah.
the overlay of the court.
Yeah, I can't speak to their mythology, I have no idea, but I can speak to ours, what we have done. It has not damaged the courts. When we ran our pickleball courts up there, I don't know if they marry up what they're doing is the same as ours, but I can say what we have done. It did not deface the courts.
What about lights? Are you gonna be playing after dark?
The goal is to be done by before it gets dark. And in fact, I think our request was till 7 PM maybe or something like that, and it stays dark in mid-July, so.
Yeah.
Almost 9,
Yeah.
9:30, yeah. So there's no intent to play under the lights. If no one's there, and let's say we have a full day of rain and we're just trying to do everything we can to get the tournament in.
Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't shoo people away or keep people up. I mean, it's just to
Right.
do what we need to do to try to get the tournament in.
Are those lights still on a timer? So they're gonna go on regardless.
And I think what we can do to prep the courts for that tournament is we will remove the nets prior to that weekend. Assuming you'll bring in temporary nets for pickleball, like so.
Right.
That we will do that, and that is nothing untypical, like prepping a field for, somebody asked for a prep field, we'll prep the courts for their use. Okay.
Well, I have every confidence that you guys protect our courts. It does behoove you to
I
damage
would not think
anything.
of abusing them, and I can tell you, it brings a lot of attention to Great Park. A lot of people came from all over the Midwest to play, and we had lots of compliments about our facilities and the park itself and so on, so.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. I need, let's see here. So are we making a motion to approve the date change?
I drafted a new agreement,
Okay.
but with the date change, I believe there's also a change. Rental price, maybe? Yeah, there is a change because it
Because you're-
takes into account the tennis courts.
The
So
tennis
it's-
courts. So we just need to approve this
yes, sir.
use agreement. Okay. No other questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the use agreement with Dave Vandenball for the Making Memories Classic Pickleball Tournament, July 14th, 15th, and 16th this year at Crank Park.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Dietrich, second by Mr. Burton. All in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
And I also, motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much. I really
Thank you for
appreciate
coming
it.
back.
Next is use agreement for Craig Park for the pickleball and tennis, using the pickleball and tennis courts for their pickleball in the park for senior services on September 2nd. The agreement also calls for a September 9th backup rain day. Get that inclement weather.
We ever worked with this group, Ron? Is this first time?
We have not.
Okay.
It's the first
So
time.
this is the first time they're doing this.
Correct.
Okay.
I have no precedent to be able to give you recommendations, but
It's pretty straightforward.
it does.
You know, it says here admission fee. Or if that's, should that really be entry fee? It doesn't matter. Like I'm probably nitpicking.
It's
That's what
public.
they're charging them,
It's-
so that's-
Questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the use agreement with Johnson County Senior Services for their Johnson County Senior Services pickleball in the park, September 2nd of this year. Crank Park.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, second by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
And the final use agreements for Sam Shide,
Shot.
for his top tier baseball. It's the 11U travel teams.
It's West Side Park. For the gym as well, we might have an issue with some fields.
So is this like the third group that's using West Side Park?
Yeah, it's only going to increase.
Yeah. Hold on, looks good. I see you guys put some dirt out there, and I've seen a lot of kids out there, a lot of groups, so. Okay. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the use agreement with Sham Schweib for the use of West Side Park. Hold on.
So move.
Been moved by Mr. Prost, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor? Mr. Prost.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries. I think that's it for the attorney's report.
That is it for me.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is consideration of paving service bids.
We have one bid that came back the day of the appropriate process that we take. Sent letters back requesting quotes for the west side entry road, milling and retake and overlaying. We sent to All Star Paving, Globe Asphalt, and Case Construction, and that is the unopened.
This was the only one you
That's
received.
the only
back?
one that was returned.
So. Mr. Attorney, will you have to review this to make sure?
I believe it'll just be a quote, and if the board and Rob find it acceptable, then you can instruct me to draft the contract. Paving services.
Big two different prices there, the line items, so they left it with the millings and then the
Yeah.
cost of removing the millings.
You've got a total with millings to remain, 59,748. Total with millings to be removed, 68,373. And you actually got four quotes here, four prices. Overlay of the parking lot, 19,800, 116 square foot at 25,710. You've got a grading, backfill, seed, and straw quote here for 9748. Somebody better track that. So I guess the first question is, are we removing the millings?
Yes.
So that's 68,373. Overlays, 25,710. And then they're gonna do the grading, backfill, seed, straw for 97,446.
Oh, 9746.
Yes, sir.
I got that one. Good one, yeah, all right. So I got, hold on a second. So is that an aggregate total for leaving the millings, or sorry, moving the millings,
Removing the millings.
repaving, and then
Overlay,
back
yeah.
filling seating, $103,829?
That's what I got, yeah.
I would recommend the board take that under consideration. That does fall within our budget numbers that we planned for last year for this project. I haven't seen the quote. So I hope that's what
I was at West Side Park today, and it sorely needs it.
it's bad.
It looks almost as bad as Indianapolis. Anybody want to see this contract?
Would you like to see this contract?
Nobody else even bid on it.
Busy season.
Sure is.
But if you accept it, just with the terms and conditions to be worked out by legal, but accept that number for the contract price, I can have it drafted up. And then you can come in and sign it at your leisure.
And you said it was within budget?
Probably.
Very much so. That's great. He also included the letter that we sent all the others without. Nice. Yeah, my figures are showing $103,829.
Case is a good operation.
We've had a lot of good deliverables from them.
Good.
Questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the bid from Case Construction for the asphalt work at West Side Park parking lot for a total of $103,829. With the understanding that legal department will draft all the necessary paperwork. Follow through with all that.
So moved.
Second.
We moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Cross.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I am an aye also. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is foundation report.
Couple things to report. Foundation, very happy to see that the shade structure at Craig Park has been erected. Now there's a concrete pad under it as well. I just think there's some finished grading needs to be done around the edges, some seeding, some strawing. And that'd be ready for obviously Mr. Manaball's tournament and recreational pickleball as well, and tennis players to use the shade structure. In addition to the shade structure at Craig Park, we've also expected delivery of the umbrellas, which you guys approved as well. The foundation has since agreed to go in 50% on funding those umbrellas. So that's over a $15,000 contribution towards the umbrellas, which goes back to our homes. All I have.
Talked to some pickleball players the other day and they were very enthusiastic about those shade structures, very complimentary.
Great.
So,
It's good to hear.
okay, controller's report, I believe Greg is with us tonight.
Evening. Looking at page 1, Fund 204, the main operating fund. You'll see right now we're showing a negative $245,518. As a reminder, this is our fund that really is driven by property taxes, which come in June and December, and then also when the pool opens up, that's when we'll see a big bump in those revenues. So not real worried about those. This is the time of year that one generally is running that deficit. Food and beverage tax, we're still running positive on that one, putting some money in the bank. The S&R fund is $251,000 in the black right now. Big part of that is registrations for all the summer activities that'll those will get spent as those activities start taking place. Finally, the impact fee. We haven't had a lot of impact fees yet come in this year, but I think as building permits are being issued and things start going up, we'll start seeing that roll in. We had a meeting last week with Rob and with the CDS department to talk about getting an idea of where the impact fees are going. We do have a lot of multifamily that's getting ready to start, so we'll start seeing those roll in.
Questions? We appreciate the information. Thank you for coming. Next item on the report is the aquatic report. Brooke is with us tonight.
Hi guys. Okay, so hiring, we're starting to kind of wrap up a little bit on hiring. So we are kind of at the tail end of that. We do have drug testing orientation dates already scheduled for the last week of April. So April 24th, 25th, 26th, and 28th that we work with HR on. So those are all squared away. So right now, Lucas and I are kind of starting to gear up for de-winterization. So we went out there yesterday to kind of start putting pumps where they need to go and start bringing the pools down. We also talked to Top Notch, who is the guy that comes out and does our pressure washing. So we're always kind of squared away with him, and he came out there with us yesterday to kind of look at the pools and kind of go over our plan for what we're going to do with those and throughout the season on the deck and things like that. So we're ramping up.
Fully staffed.
We're close to it. I feel like the applications were kind of coming in a little bit slow, but now they're kind of starting to pick up a little bit, which I feel like happens every year. We noticed that this weekend we had a huge influx of like applications coming in. I don't know if that's just because we talked to a lot of our returning staff and our returning kids, and we asked them to kind of help us on the recruiting. And a lot of the kids that were applying have put them down as references, so we know exactly like who was, referring them forward towards us.
So you're not having the problems that Indy Parks has
Not at the moment, no.
at the moment, knock on wood.
Yeah, hope not.
Well, I saw that they were actually offering signing bonuses.
They are.
Do you anticipate anything like that?
It's something that we wouldn't rule out. Myself and Jen had talked about it. And then to Greg's chagrin, he's just not gonna hear about this just now. That is something that we're gonna try to craft and then talk to them with our budget meetings going to 2024 about what a signing bonus would look
Okay.
like.
Okay. Just curious. Thank you, Brooke.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda is the park report.
You got my report. If you have any questions? Just an update, the city center park, the turf, they were out there working on the turf today. It's all down. They're sealing up the rest of the seams and breaking it out. Really looks nice. We're gonna have a chance to go over and look at it tomorrow. Or Thursday after the thunderstorms. We're in the middle of hiring still. I'm not fully wrapped up yet. We're getting slow this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to, I sent the email to Indy Water today. All the water will be turned on at the farms by next Tuesday, no later than Tuesday.
You anticipate being fully staffed?
Yes, I do.
That's a good attitude. I was out running around today, so I stopped by quite a few parks. You guys been busy with that equipment you bought last year?
Yes.
Yeah, it's, you can definitely see the, where it's been.
Yep.
And what's the timeline on Northeast Shelter?
They will potentially start setting footers this week.
Okay.
By the end of this week. If it's not the end of this week, it'll be the first next. So I have located the shelter, CAD, and the restroom all holistically together. So it all works when it goes in. That's kind of what that's it.
Anything else for Jim? Thank you, sir. Trails. Anything on trails?
Update on trips.
Recreation report?
I have a copy of our report. This past weekend, we had breakfast with Bonnie. We had about 350 people in there for 2 sessions. Good event. It was actually warmer at our 8:30 one than the 6:30 one, but it was a good day had by all.
Sorry I didn't make it this year.
Maybe next year.
Maybe. Questions or comments from Nick?
Great report. You did a lot of things. Good job.
Yeah, I also was out looking at the sports park this year, this morning. You just sorely need it. So exciting with that, when that comes online. And we got a copy of the newsletter, which I really enjoy. Just so great. I always like looking at this. Thank you, Nick. Fieldhouse report. Ricky, you with us?
Should have a copy of the Fieldhouse report. I think March was another great successful month for the Fieldhouse. My biggest takeaway from running the reports was the rentals this past month. March was a great month for rentals.
Yeah, your attendance dipped a little bit, but your rentals they keep going up. Word's definitely out. Revenues impressive too, so. Any questions for Ricky? Okay. Thanks, sir. Community center report, Sharon.
Guys should have a copy of my report. If you have any questions, let me know.
There again, your numbers are still steadily increasing. So it's good to see, especially as we get warmer. Question about the dog parks. You become a dog park member. Do you have access to, what do we got, 3 dog parks?
Yes.
Do you have access to all 3
Yes.
with one membership fee?
Yes.
Well, I thought, I just wanted to ask. Anything else for Sharon? Okay. Any other business from the public? Any business from the park board? Okay, members should receive the claim sheet in their packets. There's no additions or corrections, and there's no business come from this board. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.